Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Amber's Apron. It's so funny because I really just meant to do one video, and that was the biscuit video, because so many of my friends had been asking me how to knead, what I mean by kneading, what does it look like, what does it feel like, how do I make my biscuits. So I made the video just to help them, and I wanted it to be funny, and if I was going to put it on YouTube, I wanted it to look right. Well, I think this is the 5th one I've done. People still want me to do more. Some people have messaged me asking me to do seasonal, and it's kind of funny because I never intended for all of this, but apparently some people like watching me. I've been told I am a character. So if you have any ideas, suggestions, wants, be sure and you can email me, message me, post in the comments. You can post on Facebook. Just let me know what it is you want me to do and I'll do it. I keep my recipes pretty traditional with my own little spin. I do simple, from scratch, and Southern. And so if there's anything you have in mind, let me know. I do have fried green tomatoes on the list and not some of the new recipes that have come up. But today I'm gonna south your mouth, and I mean that. We're doing pimento cheese. So here's my game plan. Let me tell you what I'm doing the pimento cheese for. We're doing keto, so it's not like I'm really gonna be able to eat this. But what I want to do is make the pimento cheese today, and then I'm gonna put it in the fridge overnight. The reason I do that is because I've got several different kinds of cheese, and I've got several different spices, and I want all of those flavors to marry. So anytime you're cooking something with either different like acids and spices, or any type of a lot of flavors, you need to put it in the fridge overnight, just so those flavors can cool down together, and it's like they marry. It's a happy little marriage. And then the next day, either heat it up or whatever you're going to do with it, and you just will not believe how that changes the flavor. And it's so good. I do that with chili. If y'all have had my chili, I make it usually the day before, put it in the fridge overnight, and most of the time I'm taking it somewhere, so I'll put it in the crock pot, put it in the fridge overnight, and I'm telling you, the tomato and the spice and the beef and just all the flavors just blend, and it's amazing. It's insane. I swear by that. I do it for chili, spaghetti sauce, a lot of tomato-based dishes. That's what I do with that, just so that tomato, because tomato's acidic and sweet, and then you normally add, or at least if you have some common sense, you add a little sugar to cut the acid. And when you leave it in the fridge overnight, it's just those flavors, when they cool down together, I can't describe it other than a happy little marriage, and it's wonderful and great, and you can trust me. I'm a big girl. I know how to eat. So, back to the pimento cheese. I have eaten pimento cheese pretty much all my life. It's Southern. It's as Southern can be. You find pimento cheese at church potlucks, weddings, bridal showers, baby showers, oh my gosh, banquet halls, cotillions. People make pimento cheese sandwiches for pretty much anything. Funerals. I mean, oh my gracious, I have had pimento cheese all my life. I've not had good pimento cheese all my life. I've had a lot of different ones. And so for the past year during quarantine, it's like I almost made it my mission. I really wanted to find a good pimento cheese. I didn't want it to be too mayonnaisey. I didn't want it to be traditional where it's just mayonnaise and shredded cheese. I'm not crazy about that. I feel like it's just, you could do better, And so I have eaten a lot. You just don't know. I have eaten a lot. Quarantine was not good for me, y'all. Thus, keto. So I've eaten a lot. I've eaten a lot of different recipes. I've gone to different restaurants, bakeries, delis, and I've just really tried a lot of different pimento cheese to see what it was I was looking for. Because when you grow up with something, you don't know how to change it or how to spin it or how to make it any better or, funky. So I ate a lot, and I realized I really like I like a little bit of mayonnaise, but I don't want that to stand out. I want this creaminess and I want the cheesy. So I'm starting with a base of cream cheese. Let me rock your world. Ta-da! Velveeta! This is as fake as can be, pasteurized cheese. I only want the creaminess and the color. That's all I'm looking for. So when I take my Velveeta, see, I'm using the original, but I get the little box because you don't need a lot. And honestly, I'll probably end up making cheese dip out of this. I'm only going to take about that much. So about a quarter of a block of Velveeta and throw that in. That's going to give me the color. That's going to give me the creaminess. That's going to give me a little bit of like an American cheese flavor because like I said, this has a lot of different cheeses. So I want different flavors. I don't want it to taste like fake cheese. So I'm limiting the amount. I'm going to pop this in the microwave and let them melt together. Then we got to let it cool off. So I'm only going to do a minute. That should give plenty of time for that Velveeta to kind of melt into that cream cheese. And then I'm going to mix them together with the beaters. And then I'll add my seasonings. Let me go ahead and show you my seasonings. I tried to separate them so you could see them, but they're mushing together. See that? I've got garlic powder, onion powder, salt, black pepper, smoked paprika, which you could probably use regular paprika. I just use smoked because like I said, I want it to have that flavor. And the tiniest of bits of cayenne pepper. It's the South. Cayenne pepper, baby. So what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to let those melt together. I'm going to dump the spices in. I'm going to beat it with my mixer. And then we'll have a solid base. Then we're going to shred some cheese and add the other good stuff. Now I've got this all mixed in. So see, it's a little, I mean, it's just the tiniest bit oranger than it was. And you can really see the flakes of pepper in there. And you can see the little red dots of cayenne and paprika. Oh my gosh, so good. So what I'm going to do, because this is still hot from the microwave, I'm going to put it in the fridge while I grate my cheese and chop my pimentos just to cool it down. I don't want to add cheese to this hot because it's just going to melt and then you're not going to see the big chunks of cheese that I'm shredding. Okay, so I'm using a 4-ounce jar of sliced pimentos. I prefer the diced or the chopped pimentos, but they didn't have them. So I should have had my husband open this. Oh, goodness. Hey, let me show you a trick. Oh, it's a helpful, handy tip. Amber's helpful, handy tip. Okay, so take your knife and you're going to whack the lid to kind of break the seal. And then, oh, bam. Look at that. It made me look like a wimp. So instead of thinking, oh, I should have had my husband open this before he left, boom, use your knife handle. Silly Amber. I don't know why I didn't think of that. And I'm just draining these because you don't want all that juice in your cheese mixture because it's just going to get watery and icky. I got it on my hands. That's what my little granny, oh my goodness, this is a granny move. My little granny. This is what we wear our aprons for, ladies. So we can just wipe our hands all over our clothes and nobody knows. That's funny. Do you ever catch yourself doing something that either your mom or your dad or your grandma or just somebody in your family did? I don't know about y'all. I do that all the time. And it's so funny because I have become my father. I'm turning into him every day. And it's funny to me because I will surprise myself. My dad is he's very country. I don't want to say redneck. He is like the East Tennessee Ted Nugent. He's a hunter. He is, oh goodness, he is just, my dad is, he's one of a kind. And I love my daddy. I have always been a daddy's girl. But my daddy is very country. Which I say that. Let me stop and say that I have a job. And in my job, I'm required to talk to a lot of different facilities. I'm required to train, onboard. I talk a lot to a lot of people. And I try my hardest not to have an accent. I try so hard, Lord. And it slips every time. It just did, Every time I try to speak with someone, my accent slips every time. And so just this past week, I was onboarding a new person. He lives in Minnesota, almost up by Canada. So you can imagine, I'm on the phone with him and I'm trying my best not to talk Tennessee. I'm trying. Just East Tennessee, we have our own dialect. And at this point, I'm so old, I'm just going to embrace it. I am who I am. This is how I talk. Oh, so I'm trying to be, a professional. I'm trying to be professional. I want to conduct this onboarding in a professional-like manner. So I'm talking. It didn't take long, let me tell you. It didn't take long. We get on the phone and I do my introduction and I talk about where I work and how long I've worked there. And then I just stopped and I said, look, I try very hard not to have an accent, but I know it's going to slip. So when you hear me revert to country, just ignore me. And if you can't understand me, let me know. Because, it's like two pieces of the American, United States of America talking. He's at the top and I'm way down here. And so I'm like, if you don't understand something, let me know. But I'm going to try to do this without an accent. And I failed. And he caught me. He didn't understand what I said. He was actually talking about, I just tried to do it. He was talking about, he has a cabin up almost in Canada where he hunts. And he said that. And I immediately, because my husband and I, we hunt. And I said, when's hunting season start? And I said it just like that. And he went, come again? And I went, hunting season, when's it start? And he goes, y'all, just like that. He goes, I don't understand. And I went, oh, hunting season. When does hunting season start? And he laughed. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I said, it starts muzzleloader season, bow season. Down south, we have different, like when you start, what weapon you can carry and all that. And obviously, I'm not up to speed on that. And I didn't know if it was different. If you're up in almost Canada, do you have different seasons? Obviously, it's going to be colder sooner. So do you start earlier? And we both had a good laugh because it was, my gracious, redneck as can be. But I'll start talking about my daddy while I chop these. And here, let me show you one I haven't gotten to. When it says sliced pimentos, it's that. It's like a woolly booger. You don't want that in your pimento cheese. You want little chunks of pimento cheese. But my daddy is very country. His accent is so much stronger than mine. And growing up, he would take me to the credit union with him. He helped me open my first savings account. And then when I got a job, he, helped me open my checking account and all that. And even just going with him to the store, anytime, because the cash registers down here, the bank tellers, everybody down here is friendly. So they don't just say, here's your total. They're like, well, hi, how are you doing today? And my daddy, all about normal. That's how he talks. I'm not even lying. He talks that country and that deep. All about normal. And they would say, oh, that's good. And he'd go, no, not normally. And it's so funny. My dad, he's hilarious. He is very witty and he's got that dry sense of humor. I have his humor, absolutely. And I'm always shocked by it because it comes out. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my dad. And so one day I went to Walmart and the cashier, and I did this without thinking, y'all. The cashier's like, hi, how are you doing today? And I went, oh, about normal. And then she said, oh, that's good. And I was like, not normally. And I went, oh my gosh. Like I stopped. Like I physically went, oh. And she looked at me and I went, I am so sorry. My dad just came out. Like, oh my gosh, who says that? Me, I say it because I'm just like my daddy. And there are times, oh my gosh, I don't even remember all the stories I have where I have acted just like my father, just like him. And there are things now, especially with my son. I have another story. When I was about 14 years old, my dad and I were driving in his truck. Now, my daddy had this old beat up like hunting truck that he would drive instead because he had a Harley. So most of the time he drove the Harley. But he drove this hunting truck when it was either raining or too cold or whatever. And this was the oldest, jankiest truck. Oh my gosh. I couldn't even get out. There was no handle to pull on the door to get out. I had to pull this wire that he had like somehow rigged up because there was no handle. There wasn't even a wall panel on this door. It was like all metal and you couldn't even roll the window down. It was crazy. So here I am riding with my daddy in the car. He didn't have a radio or a tape player. Back in those days, we had tapes. He didn't have a tape player. He didn't have any of that. And so it's just quiet. And you know, when you're 14, it's always weird. You don't want to talk to adults and especially your parents. You know, you just try to be quiet and forgotten about, I guess. And so we're driving along. I don't even remember where we were going. And I yawned and I didn't cover my mouth. I just went like that to yawn. And my daddy, he dipped Copenhagen for years. He had just put a dip of Copenhagen in his mouth and he still had a little bit on his finger. And when I yawned, he ran that finger right in between my lips. Like, and that Copenhagen, it wasn't like Copenhagen chunks, but it was like the smell and the taste went across my mouth. And y'all, oh, it was the grossest thing. And he goes, learn to cover your mouth. And I was like, oh, that's the grossest. Oh, so gross, so gross. And I want you to know, I mean, I don't dip Copenhagen, but I did that to my oldest the other day. We're driving and he yawns real big. And he's 14. It's time to start covering your mouth when you sneeze, cough, burp, whatever. He refuses. And so he lets out this big yawn. And when he did, I just took my finger and just right across the lips. So he's going to learn just like I did. But that's the story of how I've become my father. It's so bad. So anytime I do things now where I either act like my father, look like my father, oh my gosh, it's just crazy. So I've chopped these up while I've told you my whole life story. I've chopped them up into little dices. So that way when you get a bite of this on a sandwich, you're going to get a little piece. You're not going to get a big woolly booger. Now, I told you I use different cheeses. I have already shred almost a half a block of mild cheddar cheese in here, just so y'all didn't have to watch me or listen to me. It's just mild cheddar. This is Vermont Seriously Sharp Cheddar Cheese, and I'm using it. It's white and it's got a much more intense flavor. Because if you think about it, I've got the cream cheese, which is going to be a little tangy. I have the, sorry, I probably shouldn't do that, but I usually try to keep it in the wrapper in the bag so I know what cheese is what, because we use a lot of cheese around here. We're a very cheesy family. Oh no, the jokes. But I've got the cream cheese, so it's going to be tangy and creamy. I've got a little bit of Velveeta, so it's going to have a little bit of that American cheese flavor. Plus you got the color. Just set this aside. And then I've got mild cheddar, which is like everybody's favorite, kind of boring. And then I've got this sharp cheddar. I've tried making this with like Gouda, and I'm trying to get a little fancy and use some of the specialty cheeses. And there's just something about this combo that brings me back. I don't know if it's because I'm Southern and this is more of a traditional reminder of pimento cheese, but I like the Seriously Sharp and I like the mild cheddar. I'm going to save this little bitty wedge because when I cook dinner tonight, I can actually use this because I don't want to put too much in there. Otherwise, it's not going to be creamy. It's going to be, I don't want to say stiff, but you know, when you have too much of this, it's going to get a little stiff in there. It's not going to spread as well. But I used my cheese grater on the biggest, just so you can see those big chunks of cheese. I've actually used it, I've used the smaller one, like the medium, I've never used the fine, but the medium. And I wasn't excited to eat it. I know that sounds stupid, but I wasn't excited. There wasn't like the big chunks of cheese in it that you always look for. And you see, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna save this over here. So let me get the cheese base that I started out of the fridge. It should be, oh yeah, it's cooled off by now. I mean, it's not cold, but it's not gonna melt my cheese when I pour it in. I just stuck it in there just to take a little of the heat off. All right. Now, this recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, and I'm gonna blow your mind again. You might cuss me, depending on if you're in the South or not. If you're in the North, you'll be just fine with it, but if you're in the South, you're not gonna like this at all. So I've got my JFG mayonnaise. You can tell this is the mayonnaise we use all the time and everything, because I'm out. I gotta go get another jar. So I'm putting 1 tablespoon in here. Normally, I would eyeball it and dump it in. You know me. But I don't want to get it too mayonnaisey. I have had pimento cheese that it was literally mayonnaise and cheese. And it was so weird. I couldn't taste the pimentos. I couldn't taste any salt, pepper, any of the seasonings. It was mayonnaise and cheese. It was not my favorite at all. I didn't buy any more pimento cheese from that person because it was So if you do that, maybe don't do that. Like, I don't want to tell you how to live your life, but mayonnaise isn't always the answer. So this recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. I'm using 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise and 1 tablespoon of Miracle Whip. What? No! We don't eat this. This is not good. But let me tell you, it's got this, it adds something to this pimento cheese. We do not eat Miracle Whip ever. Like ever, under no circumstances do we eat Miracle Whip. And I don't know if it's because we're Southern or if it's just because that's nothing our family has ever really, I mean, my family has used JFG since like my great-grandparents. You know, I don't know if it's like loyalty to a brand, but we've never used salad dressing because it's different than mayonnaise. It's a little weirder. It's, you know, tangy, but it's got the flavor I want in here. It's going to add so much to it. I'm not going to rake that off in there because I've got some mayonnaise. So I buy these little bottles of it, or these little jars, and it's 15 ounces. So this is to compare mayonnaise, salad dressing. So I use the Miracle Whip typically only for pimento cheese, just because I love the flavor that it gives, and it just adds so much to it aside from mayonnaise. So I'm just going to mix that in. I don't need to use my hand mixer because this is still, it's not like it froze up and I have to like, you know, stir it in there real hard. So I've got the mayonnaise mixed in. Now I'm going to add a little bit of fresh parsley. It's just chopped fresh parsley that I've already done. So Lord knows who I would have talked about when I was chopping that. I saved y'all. You're welcome. You're welcome. So I've got a little bit of chopped fresh parsley, and I'm adding that really only for just to see it. I just want it to be pretty. I want when you have the sandwich, you can see the different elements, you know, because parsley's not super flavorful. It's just an herb, but you know, it's fun to put on stuff, in stuff, and it gives it something. Just a little, maybe it's a little love, a little Amber love coming at you. I'm not going to drain these again because this amount of juice that's come off of it, it's fine. It's not going to water it down or make it gross. But I'm not going to rake the juice in there either. This is my own little Amber way of doing that. And y'all, I don't know what's blooming here. Something is blooming. My allergies, all of us, our allergies. We've had the sniffles and it's like, you know. Something's blooming. Oh, what if it's my hydrangeas? I don't know if y'all can see this. See them suckers? I grew them. And they're so pretty. I have hydrangeas all over my house, like outside. So in the front, they're all down the front of the house. And they're solid white. And they're beautiful. And they're the same bush that's on the side of the house. Going all down the side, I have alternating white knockout roses and these white hydrangeas. And I don't know if it's because they're beside knockout roses. I don't know if it's because they're in the sun more. I don't know what the reason is. But they are starting, they kind of have a green tint to them. And they're starting to turn like this mauve-y blush color. And they're beautiful. And it's not white, but they're gorgeous. So what if I'm allergic to those beautiful hydrangeas I've been bragging about? Because Lord knows, I even took a little, I cut a little bouquet. And I took them to a woman at work the other day. I thought she would like those, and she did. She kept them on her desk. So, wasn't that nice of me? See, I'm an angel. Some of y'all know the truth, though. You know me. Now, I'm going to take my seriously sharp Vermont cabot, however you say it, my cabot cheddar cheese, dump that in. And like I told y'all before, I've got my regular old mild cheddar cheese. This is going to be so good, y'all. I didn't tell you what I'm making these sandwiches for. We're having a little women's get together at church. And I'm going to make these and surprise our ladies with some southern pimento cheese sandwiches. Oh, and on that sourdough bread, won't that be bomb? Sourdough bread, it's all crusty. It's got that tang to it. Then with this, I just flicked, holy cow, y'all! I'm flicking my cheese everywhere. Good gracious. And so what I'm doing, I'm just kind of not really folding it, but here's my method, okay? I swoop, smush, swoop, smush, swoop, smush. Do you see that? Can you see me? Swoop, swoop, smush, swoop, smush. It looks like I'm stirring, but I'm really just trying to smush these big old chunks of cheese in this melted cheese. I should say softened so people don't think, I'm just going to stick it in the microwave and stir it up. Don't do that. Then you'll have a bowl of melted cheese with pimentos in it. You won't have the big shreds of all these different colored cheeses. It'll just turn orange. There's no fun in that. Oh, y'all. Oh, it's so pretty. I might have to get a little piece of bread. Is it a coincidence that I have some keto bread over here? Nay, nay. Not a coinky dink. That's what we call it, coinky dink. It is not a coinky dink at all. Let me just interrupt this programming so my fat hind can taste this. I love pimento cheese. Love it. And if you've not tried it, what in the world are you doing? You gotta make some. Look, see, this is keto bread. So y'all see, I'm using my keto bread for this. I'm just gonna take a little, oh, I'll show you what I do. My husband doesn't like it when I mean, he likes it. Let me put my bread up and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Anytime I do pimento cheese or chicken salad or tuna salad, any of like the, salad-y types of sandwiches, my husband calls them halfies. I call them tacos because I'm a big girl and they look more like a taco than a halfie. So he likes to take his bread, and have a little halfie sandwich and put a little sandwich, whatever. I don't know what that is in my bread. Let's pause for a moment while I figure out what that is. That is like a little chunk of like flour. It's brown. It's not mold. I'm going to show you. Oh, and it feels doughy. Oh, I just dropped it. Look at that. Can y'all see that? There's like little dough in my bread that didn't get baked out. Anywho. Oh, y'all. Look at this. Oh, my goodness. Y'all, sorry. I've got to like drool over it for a minute and then I'm going to show it to you. So the Velveeta and the cream cheese are really going to make it spread. Plus, it's going to give it that good cheesy flavor. And then you can say there's what, like 4 cheeses in here? What a cheesy sandwich. So I'm not making this like I do my tacos because I don't want to eat a lot. Put that there. Look at these. Look at the cheese. Can you see that? Here. This is worth a walk over. I'm walking to you. Check this out. Look at this. Can you see this? All the different cheeses and the pimentos and the parsley. Just look at that. Holy cow. This, y'all, this is pimento cheese. And then he likes, so this is a traditional halfie for my husband. If this is me, normally I put so much on here, you have to eat it like a taco. That's the difference. A taco, a pimento cheese taco. I'm not doing that. Because y'all, I gained 4 pounds at the beach. 4 pounds. I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad. Honestly, I was relieved. I thought it would be more. I ate like I was on vacation. And I don't have regrets. It was good. Look at that. You see that cheese in there? Those big chunks? Boy, I hope your mama don't get slapped. Y'all. Oh, that's good. You see that little parsley? See, it's not adding flavor. It's just pretty. They say you eat with your eyes. I like for all my dishes to be pretty, but even if it's ugly, I'd still eat it. It's good. Oh, it's so good. Let me see if I can describe it. It's definitely creamy. It's definitely like, So you've got the creaminess, which allows you to pick up on like the chunks of cheese that you've shredded in there. Man, I'm telling you, all these flavors go together. Man, it's just so good. It's not even like, it's just creamy. It's so creamy. So it's not like you have this chunks of pimentos and chunks of cheese and chunks of parsley in your mouth tied together by some, mayonnaise or sauce or condiment, It's just so creamy. It binds all of that together. And then whenever you eat it, it's so good. It's just so good. I feel like a real heifer. Everything is so incorporated. So you can taste the different cheeses. You can pick up on that seriously sharp, but it's not weird. It's not like there's one thing that stands out. It's just good. It's so good. Man. Oh, it's just so good. Like, I'm so excited. I make a darn good pimento cheese. It's so good. And after that sits in the fridge, those flavors are going to continue to get like mingled. It's like a party. It's a party in your mouth. So all of these flavors are bringing the party. Oh my gosh, why am I'm late to the party. Oh, that's perfect. It's a party. You've got all these different flavors that are just mingling together. And then when you take a bite, bam, it's like a party in your mouth. Oh, why didn't I start it off like that? What a bummer. Missed opportunity. That's how the blonde brain works, y'all. We might get there. It'll be late. We'll get there. Oh, no. Oh, another episode that I have made an idiot of myself with. Whatever. This is delicious, and I'm excited. I cannot wait to make this for the women at my church. I can't wait to put it on that. Oh my gosh, that crusty sourdough bread. Y'all, do you realize I'm eating keto bread, moaning and talking about how good it is? Imagine on some good bread. Wow. I'm blonde. We have more fun. Sometimes it takes us longer. We have more fun. Imagine this on crusty sourdough bread with that tanginess, that flavor of sourdough, plus these flavors, the party that I just made, the party in your mouth. Oh man. Oh, this is going to be so good. So anyway, if you like the video, subscribe. Leave comments, leave me any suggestions, if there's anything you want to know. Oh golly, here I am. If you need some life advice from someone who just realized they made a party in their mouth. No, if there's anything, like, hey, Amber, I can't figure out how to cut corn off the cob, or, something like that. Leave those in the comments. Like the video, so I know you actually liked this nonsense that I often bring with myself. And definitely subscribe, because you just never know when I'm going to pop out another video. I try to do at least 2 a week. That's my game plan. We were on vacation last week, only did 1. Although it was worth it. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it, because I had on this bikini body apron and it made me look fine, and it's not. You see my... This is the body of a girl who makes pimento cheese. So, like the video, subscribe, because like I said, I'll be rolling out. My goal is 2 a week. I may do 3 at times. I may do 1, depending on, you know, life situation. I cook all the time. I cook for my family. I have made videos where I've cooked an entire meal in, you know, a short amount of time. I make food for a lot of people when I can't eat it myself. So I bake a lot. I love to bake. I just recently made zucchini bread just to try out a new recipe that I could not eat. I ended up giving it away. And then I asked the person, like, over and over, could it use more spice? Could you taste the ginger? You know, is it too spicy? Was there too much cinnamon? Was it good? Was the zucchini cut up too big? I mean, basically, I give people food and trick them into being my taste testers, because I cannot do it myself. Although I did lick that batter, and it was good. The batter was good. I licked the beaters afterwards. And I thought, this might bake up well. And so I give a lot of food away. So, like, for instance, this party that I just made, gosh, it is going to be so good. I want to try it on that sourdough. So good. Dude, make it, taste it, and tell me what you think, because that's where it is. Y'all, have a happy day.